Something that often comes up in my work as a therapist is the tendency of neurotypical folks to use a lot of should statements. I should be able to do this. I should be right here in my life right now instead of where I'm at. I should be able to have a long-term relationship. I should be married by now. I should have a successful career. I should have settled on a single career. I should have finished my degree by now. These should statements are driven often by internalized ableism, this illusionary belief that I should be able to hit targets that neurotypicals do because that's the yardstick for normality or for success. It's what they've been able to do. The measure of success that they've set is one that I've internalized and believe I have to hit. And that fails to consider the fact that you are neurodivergent, and actually it's going to be a lot harder to hit some of those milestones at the same pace. And maybe we take the roundabout route. We do more exploratory work. We are multi-passionate. We don't go down one single path. And we also may have developmental delays as a result of being neurodivergent and struggling in an ableist society. So you hitting those goalposts may not come at the rate you expect. And then what happens often is, you compare yourself, and comparative thinking is the thief of joy. You go down this route of comparing yourself to other people where they're at and going, I should be there, I should have achieved this. And then you beat up on yourself and you feel like there's some inherent flaw or failing on your behalf that's led to you not getting to where you're at. And given that that is something that you value, you've internalized as valuable, and you want to attain it, it clearly isn't just a question of willpower or some inherent flaw, because it's something that you wanted and that you've probably to some degree sought, right? Or you've not even known how to seek that out or how to achieve it because of inherent challenges of being neurodivergent, like executive dysfunction, or not knowing the intricacies of relationships or how to navigate relationships with neurotypicals. And as a result, you might not have achieved those goals. Shoulding all over yourself, as I've heard it phrased, or masturbatory thinking, I must do this, I must do that, doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't help you. It doesn't raise your spirits. It doesn't encourage or motivate you. It demotivates you. And it gets you stuck in this perseverative loop of, I failed, I'm a failure, I'm a bad person, there's no point, I should just give up, and what's the value in life if I can't hit these goals? And it's one thing to be disappointed that you're not achieving your goals, and that's, we can hold space for that. I think it's another thing to go, well, are these realistic goals? And am I being fair to myself? And should I make some kind of reasonable adjustments to factor in all the things I've just mentioned as factors that are intermediaries that impact or like slow your progress or interfere with your progress? Because they exist and they're very real. This isn't just me being a nice pep talky therapist. I've seen it in my own life and I've seen it in my clients' lives. These obstacles really do exist, and it's clinically documented. It's in the literature. If you do the research, it's all there. So these are granted, these are given, they are actual tangible challenges we face as neurodivergents. And I think the benefit of should statements is very limited. I mean, it's kind of like you're sticking your boot in your backside and saying, you should be here, get motivated, get going, get moving. I think it's better to be self-compassion, go, well, I can sit with my disappointment, I can be mindful of it. I can also recognize that other people, just like me, struggle. And even if they're not neurodivergent, people in general, generally speaking, struggle with this universally, right? And these failed expectations. And then you can be kind towards yourself and recalibrate and go, yeah, like this is a common humanity experience, and I've struggled and I'm feeling a lot of pain about this right now, and I can sit with that and hold space for that. And treat myself with warm and affirming phrases rather than lashing myself with these should statements that, again, are grounded in ableism. It doesn't factor in the fact that we are neurodivergent, that we struggle with a lot of the challenges, the disabling challenges that come along with neurodivergence, like I said, like executive dysfunctional, for example, social difficulties or sensory overwhelm or motor differences. And so when you factor that in, I think the phrase that you now need to follow is, if I could, I would, I just need a little help. That's what I use. I encourage other people to use, is this phrase that when you get stuck in this should statement mentality, is to remind yourself that there's clearly an obstacle. If you could, you would, but you just need a little help. And whatever that help is, if you seek it out and you apply it consistently, sure enough, sooner or later, you will be able to achieve a lot of those goals. And whatever that challenge happens to be, the solution will be different. But if you can apply yourself, like I said, and be consistent, you can get there. If it's that I can't finish the school program, well, let's look for some executive functioning scaffolding, build some skills. Let's build up some structures that can help you stay on task and follow through on your assignments, attending class regularly and consistently, and then little by little get your grades up. And then, by the end of the degree, you graduate, right? If you get fatalistic, resigned, and defeated and just give up and go, well, I can't hit any of these goalposts, so why even bother? Then you never make any progress, right? But if you can recognize the problem, self-compassionately acknowledge it, be mindful of it, treat yourself with kindness, and then acknowledge that, again, it's often structural obstacles that you're facing that are interfacing with your disability. If that's how you view your own neurodivergence, some people don't, some people do. I view a lot of my aspects of my neurodivergence or the co-occurring challenges as inherently disabling. If you factor that in, then you make accommodations for that, or you seek strategies to navigate around it, you can make progress and you can get unstuck and move forward in your life. So rather than focusing on this perception of failure, shift into problem-solving mode. After you've applied self-compassion, go, what do I need to adjust to help me achieve my goals? What are the tiny micro steps I need to take on a daily basis to make incremental progress so that by the end of a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever that time frame is, you've gotten from point A to point B. And if the progress, again, is slow and, like I said, incremental, and it might not move at the pace that you want it to, but if you can be consistent and apply yourself in the problem-solving mindset to the challenge and partialize it, break it down to teeny tiny subtasks and just work your way through those teeny tiny subtasks, you can close that gap. This big developmental gap that a lot of us struggle with as neurodivergents, I perceive it often to be, somewhere around like 10 years. We're like 10 years behind in terms of being able to, many of us, in terms of achieving a lot of the expectations that are set by neurotypical society, if not longer than that. We can start to close that gap, and we might not arrive at the time frame that's designed or described by neurotypicals, but we can kind of make progress at the very least towards the thing we want to attain. Have you struggled with should statements, self-criticism, applying self-compassion, comparing yourself to other people and finding yourself that you fall short in some way? And what have you found helpful in terms of reorienting your thinking and being more constructive rather than destructive with the self-criticism? I would love to hear from you.